Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living. My name is Michelle, and the purpose of my channel is to spread awareness of colorectal cancers. In my case, I have colon cancer, and I have been stage 4 since February of 2019. So I've been going through this for quite some time. If in 2019, when I was diagnosed as stage 4, and it spread from my colon that had been resected in 2017 to stage 4 when it went to one of my ovaries in 2018. We had surgery in 2019, very early in 2019. And that makes it stage 4 because it went from the first organ to another part of my body. At the time, I guess I didn't understand quite the gravity of the situation, and I'm glad because I continued to work when it was possible. I had some modified duties because I worked for a company that was very kind in helping me to work through it. And then I made some professional choices that, may have hindered my growth at work, but I believe ultimately enhanced my quality of life, and the lack of stress in decisions that were made professionally may very well in part be one of the reasons I'm still with you here today. Part of my thing is it's really hard to say, oh, when you have stage 4 colon cancer, this is what you feel like. When I heard stage 4 colon cancer and it really sunk in, in my mind, I'm like, oh, hospice. Stage 4, hospice. Well, that isn't necessarily true. I actually feel pretty darn good. And, so I don't know from day to day, what does it feel like when it gets very advanced? I honestly don't know. I could be advanced right now, and maybe part of just what I'm doing and how I look at things and my outlook on life in general, perhaps that's why it doesn't feel that horrible. Is it comfortable? No. There are side effects that stink to high heaven. One of them being diarrhea, unpredictable stools, nausea. I've had a lot of nausea this time. We're going to go through my most recent side effects, and that was from round 10 of Avastin plus Folfiri. That is the chemotherapy regimen I'm currently going through. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to make my video today is to show you this is kind of like me every 2 weeks. I go in for infusion in the morning every other Tuesday. I did recently have a 6-week break, and oh my goodness, let me tell you, it was wonderful. It allowed me to go to a family reunion. I talk more about that on my previous video. 4 generations at these family reunions, meaning the older generation is able to make it less and less. Either they've passed away or they have their own extreme health issues and can't make the trip, because we generally speaking, everybody travels at least 300 miles to up to 1,200 miles, with the exception of one of my husband's cousins who comes here from Britain every single family reunion. So it is truly a worldwide family reunion. But that was worth the time off, and I rarely take, in fact, I've never taken a break from chemo since I've been doing it. And this was really actually refreshing. And I believe it kind of helped me just take a breath and take stock of what's going on. So where are we right now? I am on round 11 out of 12. And 2 weeks ago, I resumed my treatment. So I was at round 10 2 weeks ago. I had a really great infusion experience. It was my first, again, starting back up, it was my first time. And then I had a really good day on the Friday that I recorded my last video. And then the next day, diarrhea to the point where I had to take Imodium, and my skin was killing me because all that poison is coming out of your body. And my husband likens it to the cancer leaving my body, and that is true, but it doesn't feel good, regardless. That happened to me for 3 days, And I ended up taking Imodium as directed. I didn't have to take the full amount. Usually that first, dose is enough to slow things down and calm my stomach. But after that, it was nausea and a textural thing having to do with meat. I don't eat beef as a rule because beef is not really recommended for those who have colon cancer, nor is pork, any processed meats, anything like that. So that leaves out a lot of our standard American diet. I do eat a lot of fish and poultry, not as much fish as I probably should, and I think that at this point I'm going to be moving in that direction, at least for a while, and it's a textural thing. I got a really good deal on some chicken a couple weeks ago, made one of our favorite things in the world that I have made dozens of times since I've been married to JJ 30 years ago, and that is chicken piccata. We love chicken piccata. I have that recipe to a point where I can do it with my eyes closed, and it's perfect every time. The chicken, my take on the chicken itself, the piccata was great, all the stuff around it, but the chicken was chewy, and I couldn't even swallow it. JJ said it was really good to him, so I have to chalk it up to being a textural thing for me. After that, every time I looked at chicken, I thought, oh my God, I can't put that flesh in my mouth. So I haven't had any meat since the piccata. I haven't had any meat with the exception of maybe some vegetable beef soup and that little tiny pieces of beef, or chicken noodle soup, and even those tiny cubes of chicken kind of made me, take stock in it. And my husband has been making me cheese quesadillas when I can, because that's like all I can eat some days is a cheese quesadilla. I'm still drinking all my water. In fact, I'm going to take a little sip right now. There we go. Drinking my water. I'd hardly have any coffee or caffeine at all. I am having Gatorade to make sure I get some electrolytes as well as some liquid IVs, the sugar-free ones. Don't drink soda. My soda, if you will, is San Pellegrino, which is just bubbly spring water, and that does it for me. Maybe a squeeze of lemon or lime. If my skin's not bothering me when I use the restroom, then I'll put lemon or lime in it because I really like citrus a lot, and that's how I get a lot of flavor. Another thing I like to do with water is to throw in some rosemary leaves or some basil leaves because those make really, really nice flavored water, as well as cucumbers too. So those were my main side effects, and then I did get a fever over the weekend, but it wasn't a high enough fever to warrant me going to the emergency room. Knock on wood, I have never had to go to the emergency room for any of my side effects or having fevers or anything like that. Unfortunately, my husband had to return to the office a week ago, and he came home with a bug unknowingly. And he woke up Thursday not feeling well. So we separated ourselves into different rooms until we knew he was better. And I stayed in that other room until yesterday. But I got the fever over the weekend. As he was feeling better, I was not. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles, if you will. Sugar feeds cancer, so I'm just using that as a metaphor. Okay. The loss of appetite, I think, was completely due to texture issues with proteins. I did have some scrambled eggs, and that just reminded me. I think I can tolerate that right now, so I do believe I will be having some scrambled eggs as meals here in the future. But I have largely been living on Campbell soup and cheese quesadillas in the past week. That can all change in a heartbeat, just depending on what my mouth feels like. But that's where I'm at right now. I have some notes because I want to try and stay on track for you. One of the things that I have done that I have managed to accomplish in the last few days is to get pickles, and I actually prepared a 4-pound crock of garlic dill pickles, spicy garlic dill pickles. And my hope is that by the time they're done fermenting in the crock, that my body will be ready to enjoy that type of food. Right? Again, I'm on a session right now, and 2 weeks from today, I'll be doing my last session of chemotherapy. Yes. I want to also go over my CEA numbers. That is a test that's used to see what your cancer markers look like. It kind of indicates if things are, if it's active or not active or possibly growing or not. I've done enough reading over the past week that I feel less anxious about my numbers. I'm not happy that they're going up, but I'm less anxious about the numbers I'm looking at. I don't necessarily feel like it is an immediate death sentence, let's put it that way. And when I first saw the numbers, I was like, oh God, this is not good. My last CEA, which was pre-round 11, was taken on August 8th, which was last Friday. That number was 26.5. They really don't want it over 5. The previous to that was 21.9. That was July 25th. That was just prior to round 10. And that's when I was starting back up. 3 weeks prior to that, July 3rd, it was 14.9. It had actually gone down from the previous to that on June 17th, which was 18.9. And prior to that, on June 10th, it was 17.6. So as you can see, I'm in like a 10-point range, 12-point range, but it does appear to be going up, even with treatment. But again, I put things like on a scale, like a grading, you know, A through F type of thing, right? Where 100 to 90 is an A and 80 to 89 is a B, that type of thing, right? And I was afraid that when I got into the 20s, it was just going to be like, oh my God, that's it. I don't feel that way anymore. So you could do your own research if you want. I, again, am not a doctor or medical professional. This is not meant to be medical advice in any way, shape, or form. I am simply sharing my experiences, and my experiences are unique. Your experiences or your friends or family will be unique to them as well. How they respond to treatment, how their body feels, what side effects you get, all of those things are going to be unique to an individual. So that's why I would never, ever pretend that this would be any kind of professional advice. It is not. I can't say that enough. So we've already gone through the side effects that I've had, and I think I've covered them all. So we'll leave that alone. I got my pickles in the crock. That I see as a great accomplishment. I've helped my husband more in the yard because the weather has been absolutely glorious. With the exception of a few days in the in the hundreds over the past few days, it's been in the 80s and low 90s in Northern California. And let me explain, because California is a very long state and we have a million different little climates, okay? I live in the Sacramento Valley, roughly between, mileage-wise, it's exactly between, but roughly between San Francisco and South Lake Tahoe or Reno, depending on which highway you take. So I'm not up on the very north coast, up in Mendocino or anything like that. I'm in the Sacramento Valley, which is also called the Big Valley, hence the name of our channel. So some people have asked me for clarification, and no, we're not in the really cool spots in California, which would be wonderful right now, but we do like to go up there for day trips. Okay, the last part of this video that I really want to stress is grace. Again, I am learning more grace, and I tend to get kind of brought down to reality when I'm going through treatment, because that's when I need help the most. And going through treatment doesn't end when they take this 5FU ball off of me that is connected through a port. I'm going to be connected to this for 2 days, and it's fed by heat from my body and it releases a certain amount of the 5-FU, which is a chemotherapy common to colorectal cancer patients, as well as others. You can Google it if you'd like to know more. I wear this for basically 2 days, and I sleep with it. I can't shower, but I can wash my hair in the sink and do a spatsy bath. Last thing I want to touch on is grace. Give yourself grace. Grace to make mistakes, grace to not feel good, grace to need more rest than you wanted, grace to eat whatever your body will actually allow you to eat at times where you just don't feel like anything is going to cut it. Sometimes, just getting any nutrition into my body is going to be more important than exactly what it is. If I can't get chicken past my tongue because it's so gross, so be it. I'm going to have to find protein in other ways. Scrambled eggs, cheese. Those are animal products. I'm not necessarily really wanting to eat animal products that much, but if that's what's going to make it to give me some nutrition, I'm going to do it. I also do some nutrition shakes that I get at Costco, and those help give me some protein because I really need to keep my strength up. Part of that grace is also accepting help from your friends. And everybody has something unique to bring to the table. If you have a friend, like I do, that will come over to your house at a moment's notice and listen to the top 10 1972 hits as picked by the listeners, well, by golly, do it, because that's kind of fun and it brings the memories on. I did that last weekend when I was having a good 3 or 4 hour period, and it was a lot of fun. And fortunately, it's a neighbor, and she was able to pop over with her husband, and we actually, my husband, her husband, and me enjoyed it. The other things that I want to talk about are, and this is part of the grace and having overall gratitude in your world, is to keep up on relationships. Every relationship is unique, okay? You're going to have friends that text you funny memes. You're going to have friends or family who text you, heartfelt little things and let you know how much they love you. They may do it once a week. They maybe do it once a month. You might get a phone call every 2 or 3 months. Each one of those is important, and they go a long way in enriching your heart and your body and your soul. Some of your friends might be of the 4-legged furry type of friends. My dogs watch me like a hawk. If something is not necessarily right, and my husband is in the other room, they'll go get him. And they'll kind of let him know, hey, I don't know if mom's feeling so good. And that is good. Another funny thing about my dogs is that when they hear a timer going off on the stove, if they're not sitting right there with me, or even if they are, they'll get up and get my attention to make sure I hear it. That's pretty cool. And that's not lost on me. You may have friends. I have these little notes because I just don't want to forget all the special things that I get from different people. You might get funny emails from people. You might get uplifting emails from people. I get emails from people from all over the world and comments in the comment section on YouTube that are so kind. I see that community being built also by they're supporting each other within the comment section community. That is such a beautiful thing to see. Other people encouraging each other because the one commonality is that they watched a particular video. That is what this is all about. I am here to spread awareness, bring some positivity to what is a very uncomfortable, and, I have a certain fate. I know I'm going to die. Well, we're all going to die. But, you got to enjoy what you have while you have it, too. Because you might feel like today is the worst day in the world of your life. It may end up being the last best day you have. So try and make something out of it. Seriously. And even if you're feeling great and you don't have a disease, you don't know what's coming tomorrow. So treat the present as it is, a true gift. Build your relationships and maintain your relationships with your family and friends. If you have little ones around you and your family, make something of it. Spend whatever time you can. If it's 15 minutes, if it's FaceTime, because You know, somebody might not be feeling 100% tip-top. Well, by golly, do a FaceTime. If you have an app like Marco Polo, get on there with your friends. I've got several friends that are YouTube friends, and we have a blast sharing things with each other on Marco Polo because we live thousands of miles apart. The closest person I live to is 1,000 miles from me. No, 750 miles. That's a good 12-hour drive, folks. And the rest are thousands of miles from me. But every day we check in. Every day we encourage each other. And no matter what we're going through, we know we can depend on each other. And that is priceless, absolutely priceless. I don't want to forget anything. Phone calls. I love talking to my aunts on the telephone. So either they will call me or I will call them, and some uncles, by the way. We will make sure that we get in touch like once a month to once every 6 weeks. And for me, that means every week or every other week, I'm calling somebody and I'm giving myself an hour to talk to them. If we talk less than that, that's fine. But I don't like to go more than an hour because I know people's time is valuable. But I have had some really wonderful conversations with family over the past, 5 years, and probably made closer familial connections with people who are way, way, way far away from me. That mean a lot. They mean a lot to me, and I believe they mean a lot to them. Another thing that I've started doing is going through all of our photographs. And I am the keeper of all the family photographs, which means I have 5 totes of printed photos. Some are in frames. I'm pulling them out of the frames. I'm getting rid of landscapes that never were taken by me. I have no idea where they are, and they don't mean anything to me. And that's not to be callous, but I'm not going to pass on 5, 6, 7 totes of pictures to our kids to have to go through. I'm having a hard enough time, and I'm in the generation that kind of knows 2 or 3 generations ahead and 2 or 3 generations below me. And I don't know everybody in all the pictures I see. I wasn't necessarily around, and they could be friends, children or grandchildren of my mother and dad's friends, or my mother-in-law's friends. I don't even know who they are. So if nobody I know can identify them, they have to go because they weren't mine in the first place. So use things like that. If you have special videos, if you have special videos or you have special photos on your phone, maybe make a very, very special place for those that mean the absolute most to you, that are easy to get. Give it an easy name. Make sure that your spouse, your friends, whoever needs to know, knows where to find it. Maybe print up fresh pictures every couple of months that you can now download from your family on Facebook or Instagram. I don't know if you can do it on Instagram. I think you can. Shows you how much I go on there. But you can download a picture of maybe your grandchildren that you haven't seen for months or years, and put that in a frame so that you can see what they're looking like today. And you can do a little meditation on that every day and just kind of bring yourself to a very happy, centered spot in your life. Also doing that will kind of give you, it gives me the encouragement to maybe make that phone call, do that FaceTime, and spend time with them in any way that I possibly can. Let's see, I think I covered all of those types of things. But don't lose touch with your friends. If you don't feel like getting on camera, let them know you're not having a good day. But try and find the joy, the happiness, and something good in every single day. And at the same time, I want you to consider being kind to other people, because you being kind to them is going to make your life richer. It's going to make their life richer. If you compliment a stranger on something like a hat that they're wearing or a pretty t-shirt, the color of their eyes, you never know what that nice compliment that you give to a stranger is going to do to possibly change their life or their day in a very positive way. If you feel like scowling all day, hide it, because it'll go away. It will. If you're not in a good mood or you're a grumpy person, then I suggest you kind of keep that to yourself, because there are positive things that you can focus on. And I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. I'm just saying that we live in a negative enough world where positivity and kindness go a long way. Thank you very much for coming by. I will probably do another video about my side effects during this particular round. If I get a CEA update, I'll certainly give you an update on that. Thank you to everybody who's sending in comments, super chats, things like that. I think that is so nice, because it's not what we're expecting. We're all about raising awareness here and helping you to find a good place to be if you're struggling with something. So I'd like to thank you all for coming again. Consider sharing, like this video, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And again, share it with somebody who needs to hear the message. See you later, everybody. Be kind.